I'm Lynn Purkey, and my project is translating Spain under Stalin. During the 1920s and 30s, Spain experienced a love affair with Russian letters, yet the opposite, albeit to a lesser degree, was also true. This phenomenon was exemplified most clearly in the reception of classics like Fuente Ovejuna or Don Quixote. However, Russians were also interested in contemporary Spanish writers. While there was a great deal of interest in social authors or works that lent themselves to political readings, Soviet readers were also drawn to literature for its aesthetic qualities. Indeed, while censorship and politics played a role in translations, they did not always determine which works would appeal to readers. This notion is supported by proponents of reception theory who view literature as part of a historical process and constant dialogue. Hans Robert Jauss posits that aesthetic taste is mediated by a horizon of expectations whereby a work, quote, does not present itself as something absolutely new in an informational vacuum, but predisposes its audience to a very specific kind of reception, end quote. Thus, readers are attracted to literature that reminds them of what they've already read. Therefore, it's likely that Russians read Spanish modernists for reasons beyond the purely political. It's worth noting that the arguably apolitical Federico Garcia Lorca is probably the most beloved Spanish poet in Russia today. If one compares Lorca's poetic and theatrical productions to pre-revolutionary Russia, one finds a number of parallels. Alexander Pushkin's poem Tsigani, or Gypsies, includes many of the themes of Lorca's gypsy romances, while his theater echoes techniques and themes evident in the drama of Leonid Andreev, and especially Anton Chekhov. Obviously, during the Soviet regime, censorship played a key role in publications and translations. However, it was not always as strict as one might suppose. After the revolution and the Civil War, the import, translation, and dissemination of foreign literature was surprisingly free until the late 1930s or early 1940s. Relaxed censorship resulted in an international publishing boom, which even included works with ambiguous or dubious political positions. Furthermore, until the 1940s, translators usually chose their materials. Spanish translations also benefited from the excellent and even exquisite craftsmanship of translators like the poets Marina Tsvetaeva and Boris Pasternak. In an age of uncertainty, Stalinist purges, and the imposition of socialist realism and its mandate of party-mindedness, Russian writers increasingly turned towards translations as a means of earning a living and avoiding persecution. Thus, Spanish modernists were translated into Russian during the early 20th century in an environment in which censorship practices were less stringent for foreign works, and in the best of cases appeared in superb translations. Yet while Russians read and enjoyed some social works from Spain, like Rafael Alberti's Civil War ballads, they often preferred those whose aesthetic sensibilities echoed trends in their own literary past, as one sees in the case of Garcia Lorca. Thank you.